second part of my dark entity video. So this part I wanted to talk about once I was ready for bed and going to bed. I thought I had cleansed myself with my holy water, and I thought I really took all the steps that I needed to do. Now, mind you, I didn't have my black tourmaline at the time. I went into this house with no protection. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. And I put on my relaxation music, meditation music, whatever, and the room was slightly lit. And I lay down and I immediately asked my angel, can you please confirm the name of the angel for my friend? I just wanted to confirm it. And because I already got it once I was talking to her. But so as soon as I close my eyes, I see a vision, and it's a wall. So it looks like it's in shadow, because you know when you see a sunset, you see the mountains, they look black. When the sun's purple and pink, so it's kind of, you know, the sun's really down. So that's how I saw it. I see a purpley pink background of the sky, and then I see this wall. So all of a sudden I'm in front of the wall, and I look across and I see that, and there's ivy all across it, and it's a pretty tall wall. It looks like a mountain. From far away it looked like a mountain. Once I got close, it was just a wall. So I immediately started feeling this urgency to climb this wall, like something scared me, but I didn't know what. So I feel like I'm just climbing so much, so fast, and then I look up and I see a black smoke swirling above me, and I see it land behind me on the ground. So when I turn around, I see that I'm only a few feet off the ground, and the smoke turned into a man. And the man reaches up and grabs my face and kisses me. So that just tells me that I can try to get away. Frantically was trying to get away. I was trying to climb, and I felt like I was halfway up there. And it just shows me that I was just a couple feet off the floor. So it just shows me that I really can't escape him. I can't escape this. And he kisses me. I push him away and I say no. And I immediately hear my own voice say, I'm dying. And I opened my eyes, and I was a little shook, and I thought, let me write this down. So I wrote it down in my journal, my dream journal. And as I'm writing it, I'm asking my spirit guide, like, what does this mean? What does that mean? And then I see, I hear the kiss of death. And I didn't write that in my journal because I just felt like I would make it happen. So I left that part out. And so I was a little shook. So I was thinking, okay, I need to calm down, because I was getting a little, I was really scared, and everybody was asleep already, so there was nobody I can talk to about this. So I took a little bit of CBD oil, because I knew I wouldn't sleep if I didn't do this. So I took a couple of drops, and then I laid back down, and then as soon as I closed my eyes again, I see my son, my oldest son, and he's just standing there looking in the distance. And then I see the man appear, and the man has his finger out, like slowly, like taunting me, and he's looking back at me, and you know, like he wants to touch my child. So I immediately just pushed him away really hard, to where he just flew back, kind of like in those video game moves, like, you know, you hit them and then they just fly. And I said no, and I opened my eyes, because I felt as if I kept my eyes closed, I felt like I kept seeing things. And as soon as I did that, I felt like two fingers right under my rib cage here, right off to the side, not directly in the middle of my stomach, but like off to the side. And it felt like two fingers, and they were icy. And I kind of looked down a little bit, and I touched that area, and I thought, what's happening? And the icy feeling spread like liquid across my stomach, my torso, and over my chest. And I put my hands on there, and I immediately started seeing I started to fight it. And I started to see myself, like quick flashes. I guess my spirit guide was telling me to fight it. And I could just see myself kind of like blasting with like white light against blackness. I could see myself blasting it and saying no. And I was pushing it away, but I don't know if I was too frantic inside to concentrate, but I could feel it like shrink down a little bit, and then it was getting bigger, and then I would shrink down, I'd win it a little bit, and then it would get bigger. So I started to get pretty frantic inside, and I was like, oh my God, what's happening? And I was losing concentration. That ice feeling spread through my whole torso and into my arms and my legs, and then the end part was my head. And I was pretty shook at this point, and I just didn't know what was happening. And then I remembered that I had had this happen to me about 10 years ago, and maybe even 12 years. But I was working with 5 other people that were helping me fight this. I found out that there was like something bad against my family, and it was an accidental thing how I found out. So that's another story. But I had felt this feeling before, but because I had them helping me, praying for me like 24 hours a day, I was able to fight this off, and I could actually see who I was fighting off. And I remember I was being told, you don't show any fear. God is on your side. You cannot show any kind of fear. So that was 10, 15, to 15 years ago. But this time I was working at it by myself. So it was just a different feeling. And I think too, because I wasn't concentrating and I just had that fear already in me, I just felt that I was weak and it took over me. So I hear my spirit guide tell me to get the bracelet that I had given my son, that was given to me. My son took it, actually. He likes the bracelet. It was a tiger eye bracelet, and he told me to get up and go get it. And so I knocked on my son's door. It was in the middle of the night too, by the way. It was really late. It was like 1 o'clock, and my son was still awake. And I said, hey, can I have that bracelet that Auntie gave me? So my aunt, she's really sweet. When you clean her house, when you do things for her, she'll pay you. And even if you say no, she insists. So she gave me this tiger eye bracelet a couple months before. And I said thank you to my son. I said goodnight and acted normal. And when I got back to my room, I lay down and just instincts kicked in, and I lifted up my shirt and I put that bracelet, the tiger eye bracelet, nice good sized beads, onto that spot where I first felt the fingers. And I just started to say the Our Father. And as I was praying, I was taking deep breaths from that area. I can imagine the essence of that was being sucked up with that bracelet. And, visualization is really strong. It's a really big deal. And I felt better once I had that stone in my hand, and, the Our Father, I was saying the Lord's Prayer, so I feel like that's the strongest prayer. I always say that when I go cleanse the houses. But I was saying it, and it was starting to work. I could literally feel that it was just normal feeling around that bracelet started to kick in, and I just started to feel better. And I kept going, and eventually it just took that feeling, and I could only feel it a little bit more like in my hands and my forearms, but I just started to feel really tired. I don't know if my spirits, my angels were telling me go to bed, go to sleep. I definitely wanted to relax, so I definitely just calmed myself, and I said I'm a child of God, and I definitely wanted to relax. So I just said, God, please protect me tonight and my family. So I put the bracelet on my hand, and I just kind of like crossed my arms across my chest, and I just said, this is going to, I breathed a little bit through this area. So as I breathe, I just imagine the essence is coming out of, the bad feeling is just going into that bracelet. And I started to feel better. And the next day, I just fell asleep. I just was so tired. I think the CBD oil kicked in, or, my spirits were just telling, my angels were just telling me, just go to sleep, relax. And it worked. I went to sleep really hard. And the next morning I woke up, I didn't feel that feeling anymore. I didn't have that shaky feeling, the weakness in my arms and my legs, but I did feel, dread. I was very nervous the next day at work, and I wasn't really myself, but I definitely tried to push through. And I just thought, how many people walk around and have something on them? They may not know it. They may just feel like, hey, I'm just tired. Because sometimes you can feel very tired, or you can feel, irritated all the time. sometimes people just think, oh, it's just my health, it's just what I'm eating, it's just because I'm not sleeping. Well, sometimes just question those things, just kind of consider, just having a cleanse and going to church and spiritually just ask God just to walk through your house and cleanse your house. Whatever it is that you do that you can feel cleansed, do it. But you really don't stop to think about that. You really don't think about that. So a couple nights later, and by the way, the night I got home, I sprayed my entire house of holy water. And so a couple nights later, I was trying to go to sleep. Oh, and I started to I started playing my meditation music, and I lay down again. And right when you're about to go to sleep, it's like right when you're going to knock out. You can get psychic messages. I used to get a lot of messages from my angels about things that were about to come, to fruition. If someone was getting sick, I'd get a lot of visions, and it would tell me, I would wake up with that message like, wait, I was about to go to sleep. What happened? Am I dreaming already? And they would tell me, get up and write this down. So you could also experience a lot of psychic experiences at that particular time too. For me, that is anyways. So as I was going to go to sleep, I hear a snap in the wood. It was a really loud snap right behind my head on the wall, because my bed faces the wall. And it was a really loud pop. And you know that sound when you hear the wood settling in your house at night? They say, oh, well, the house was hot today. It was a hot day, so the wood is kind of, shrinking down. It expands with the heat, that kind of stuff. Well, I noticed about 10, 15 years ago, I went through something, and I noticed that when I would walk from room to room, I was a stay-at-home mom at the time, I was noticing that I would hear a popping noise in the wood, usually at my level. It wasn't up high, it wasn't in odd places, it was just like at where I was, my face. And I noticed that I would hear a popping sound as I walked into the kitchen. I would hear it in the pantry, I would hear it in the cabinets in front of me. And then when I would walk back into the living room, I would hear it on the wall that was behind the kitchen. So I would hear it pop, pop, pop. When I would sit down, I would hear it in this one particular corner all the time. And at the time, that was when I was going through some things, and I didn't know at the time, but I was starting to notice these little things. I do notice like patterns and things that are unusual that just happen all the time. I really pay attention to those things always. And it was confirmed by my kids one night. My little ones always listen to kids, animals, and people who drink, because they know a lot about this. They see this. So my kids were like, hey, Mom, when you walked into the kitchen, something was following you. And they described what it is, but that's a different story for another time. So going back to this popping sound, I did notice that it was happening like several times. Every single time I would close back my eyes again, I would hear it in a different area. It was loud. And so I thought, okay, well, now I'm being tormented by this thing. And I definitely was getting like, it was not letting me sleep all night. And so I was getting really upset now. So I was like, what do I do? Okay, so I'm going to get up and I'm going to spray the room again. And I'm going to take some more CBD oil and I'm going to knock myself out. So I got smart and I started to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to actually put a prayer and as I sleep. So I found a station that had a prayer. It was like 4 hours of just praying on you. And it was more like, his name was Brother Carlos. And I'll see if I can find the link and I'll attach it below. But it was really interesting because it was one of those, like, it was like an exorcism kind of video. So I thought, why not? I'm going to try it. So I played it. And I played it really low, and it even says you just play it as you sleep. So I figured I didn't have to listen to it. I just going to play it because, I didn't want to be scared in the middle of the night to just be woken up again because it was happening too much. So I played it, and I went to sleep. And about the middle of the night, I don't even know how many hours I had played it. Maybe it was halfway through. I started to feel a stomach ache. And like, it just was a weird feeling like at the top of my stomach. And I thought, oh, wow, what's happening? And I started feeling really sweaty. And I felt, I opened the windows and I just put the fan on and I thought, what's going on? Then as I'm standing there, I thought, well, let me journal this. So I put this in my dream book and then I started to feel nauseous. And like everything started happening to me all at once. And my nose started just dripping. ran to the bathroom, grabbed some tissue. I started getting a headache. I started to feel shaky in my legs. And then it was weird because I just started feeling like a scratchiness in the back of my throat, but it felt like lines. And like if I was scratched. It's the weirdest feeling. And I just coughed, like involuntarily, just started coughing, like a quick cough, like out of nowhere. And, you know, coughs don't just come out like that. Sometimes they're just kind of like a, you know, a clear my throat kind of a thing. And, or like, it was just a weird feeling. It was just the scratches in the back of my throat. I could feel them as I was swallowing. Oh, and then when I was swallowing, I felt like it was like a really thick feeling in the back. Maybe like a, I don't know, like my saliva was really thick, or it was mucus, something like that. Like I felt like I couldn't really swallow. And then I just felt, it was just all at once. And I didn't stop the video from playing. It was still playing. And I coughed a couple of times. And then I thought, well, let me go get something to drink. So I went and grabbed some tea. And I was just, it's a regular tea that doesn't have any sugar. So I was just drinking that. And I just drank it and drank it and drank it. And I felt like that thick feeling was gone. And I actually just started to feel like better. I did feel better. But the weird thing is I did this every night with this. I started to feel it less and less. Certain symptoms were not there. Every time I played this video. I even played it on my day off when I was home. I played it really lightly in the room as I was cleaning my room, and I started noticing certain things coming up again. And like my stomach was hurting, felt a little nauseous. What's happening? What, am I getting sick? What kind of a thing? And I did an experiment. I told my daughter, come into the room. I was talking to her about something, and then I started, gave it like a few minutes, and I go, hey, how do you feel right now? Do you stop and think about how you're feeling right now in your body? And she's like, she looks down, and my daughter's only 12. But I always ask her to confirm what I'm feeling. So she's like, well, and she thinks about it. I do feel a little nauseous, and my stomach hurts. And I thought, okay. I says, now, do me a favor and go to the living room and just sit there, go grab some tea, just sit down for a little bit. Tell me how you feel. And she's like, okay. And so she was walking out, and she stops right outside my door. And I paused the video, and she says, oh, I forgot to tell you. And she starts telling me something about school, because school is coming up. She says whatever she had to say. And then I said, how do you feel? How do you feel right now? And she says, actually, I feel fine. She goes, as soon as I walked out of your room, I felt good. So I thought, okay, this means something. I played it for my whole family. I wanted to see how my whole family felt. And nobody else felt anything except for myself and my daughter. My mom did say she kind of felt a little bit of a headache, but so it's just the females in my family are just sensitive to it. So I thought, okay, this means something. Either this thing has touched us, or it's kind of like around us, and that's why we're sensitive to it. So once I listened to this video, get this, I really didn't listen to the words before. So when I heard it, his intro is telling you, you know, for demon possession, you're going to feel, you're going to cough, you're going to get headaches, you're going to be nauseous, you're going to probably have to go to the restroom, you're going to just involuntarily cough, that kind of thing. Every symptom he said was there. And I started reading the comments, same thing. Everybody was describing it like, hey, I just threw up, I feel better. You know, I don't feel like I want to smoke a cigarette. It was the craziest video ever. So part 2 coming up. Part 3 coming up, sorry. All right, guys, sorry, I'm running out of time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.